Hi, I'm Lisa Singer, the Senior Director of Event Programming at MediaPost. And this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers today. And with me is Tiffany Carver. And she is, I want to make sure I get your role, lead for brand experience platforms at General Mills. Welcome, Tiffany. Hi, I'm glad you were able to join me.
Thanks so much, Lisa. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were just with each other in Santa Barbara, so for the CPG summit. And but I love the summits and hearing about what you guys are doing, but this is really, to me, I talk with so many of you and I hear all of these wonderful stories. And so I love to be able to share that and hear more about it. So I appreciate you doing this.
No,
Um,
that's wonderful.
yeah, and so I have to start because which I always say, I do my snooping before. And looking at your LinkedIn page, you basically, when you took the position you're with today at General Mills, or not the position you're with today, but when you started working at General Mills, which was, we'll get into that, but 24 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. I'm sorry, as a marketer, you don't see that kind of longevity. So I definitely am excited to get into that. But I first want to ask you about, you were sort of bragging to your friends, like now you get to have the job where you get to pick the toys that go inside the cereal box. So I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. So, all right, I want you to tell me about your first, because General Mills, what you guys are turning 95 this year, I believe.
Oh, geez. Oh, no, we're older than 95.
Oh, really? Okay. So, all right, my
Yeah.
snoop didn't work.
Because Betty Crocker celebrated, this is her 101st birthday. So yeah, we're older than 95.
All right. So you look good for your age.
Oh,
And
thanks.
uh, but I have to say, so I'm sure you grew up on, the cereals,
Mhm.
uh, what Cheerios, Trix, the Cocoa Pebbles, is it, am I saying that right?
That's
No,
not one of ours.
Cocoa something, Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs. Yeah. Yeah.
So what was your cereal, and what was, more than that, more importantly, what was your favorite toy at the bottom of the box?
Oh, yeah. It's a good question. Okay. So favorite cereal today, I would say is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, okay.
Um, Favorite cereal when I was a kid would have been Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh,
Favorite toy in the box, I you can still get them at the dentist, but I used to love those little gummy kind of octopus that you would throw at the window and it would crawl its way down the window. I do remember those from my childhood.
oh, very cool. Okay. So, but it's just, I think it's so funny that, I know I was this person. I'm sure maybe you were too, but that I would go, like, I used to pour it into the bowl to
Mhm.
find, like the toy. My mom would come in and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, and so we all would fight to see, because two brothers and a sister. So it'd be like, who would be the one to get the toy? And I
Yeah.
mean, and then to be a part of that today, that must be pretty amazing for you.
It is, and it's so funny you talk about that moment because like that moment of nostalgia is like a huge thing for consumers even today. We're starting to get out of the range of like consumers that are familiar with going into the cereal box and getting that toy because unfortunately, we've evolved and it's not quite the same model anymore.
Yeah.
But that is like such a nostalgic moment. You think about arguing with your siblings over what's in the bottom of the cereal box, etc. And then
Mhm.
when I started at General Mills, like I actually didn't even know that that was somebody's job. Like, have you ever thought, have you ever career path that I would like to be the person that figures
Uh-huh.
out what toy goes into the cereal box? Like, no, it's a bit of a dream job.
No, that wouldn't even have come across my mind. I never
Oh,
thought of it. It was just kind of there.
exactly.
So, but no, I think that's great. Well, and I do know, I mean, just even from, hearing you present at our summits and just reading some of the things you do, you are about pushing the envelope, so, toys or not, you like to shake things up a bit. But I want to ask you, what is pushing the envelope, not just in marketing, in general, in life, and how have you pushed the envelope in your own life?
Hmm. Good question. Okay. So pushing the envelope, I think if I was to define it, I would say it's on the verge of being fearless and being willing to tread new ground. That's I've always been lucky. I consider myself very lucky in my career because every opportunity I have gotten has been an opportunity to carve a new path for the organization. So not everybody's comfortable in that space of ambiguity. And but I'm quite happy there. So I've been lucky because been given opportunity after opportunity to live in that space. So that's how it is kind of in the career side for me. But as I think about on the personal side, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually my personality on the personal side or not. I think I might be a little bit more safe.
Mhm.
So I use my career as my opportunity to trailblaze.
Well, maybe that's why you chose the direction you did with your career, but I'm curious, has there, all right, so say you're in general, you play it a little safer, but
Mm.
has there been an opportunity to sort of step out of your comfort zone? Maybe something recently or in the, not that long ago that you did something that maybe surprised you a little bit, surprised your friends that you went skydiving or something like that.
Yeah, I will tell you one cute story. So this was actually a treat that a few of my friends put together for me for my 40th birthday. And I I had made this bucket list. And one of the items on the bucket list was I wanted to record an album. And I don't sing at all. But I always had this dream of like being a pop star. So for my birthday, they rented like an official recording studio and took
Really?
me with sound engineers, and I got to record myself an album or a record. I guess it would be a record. It's only one song. Um, so I guess that was totally outside of my comfort zone. So
So
first of all,
what
yeah.
well, there's so many questions here, but okay. Well, one, doing it, like, were you able to just let go, like you're in the shower, and just belt it out, or was
Well, not as much as I probably should have, but like it was in a real sound studio with the glass wall. So I saw them all watching me. Like the sound engineer and my girlfriends were all watching me. And I had to sing, and I'd never really sang in front of anybody except my husband and son in the car kind of thing. Um, but I did it. Like I stepped out of my comfort zone and I did it. And we did Pretty Girls by Britney Spears as our song.
Mhm.
And I now have that as a recording. And once a year, I try to send it back to those girlfriends to remind them the fun that we had because they were my backup singers.
That is so awesome. What'd you think? How did, was it
I kind of liked it. I
yeah?
did. Yeah.
Well, can we hear some
So
now?
no.
Why did I know that that would be the answer? I had to ask though, I couldn't.
Yeah, of course.
No, I think that's awesome. No, I would love to, be able to be a singer. My last name, you think I would. Everyone always, of course, asks me that, but I can't carry a tune. So,
I can't really say that I do either. So
so yeah, no, I don't think my friends would put themselves through that by renting me out a stage for me to do it. So, all right. Well, I want to get into since your singing career was a little bypassed, let's get
Mhm.
into your actual career that, luckily did work out, your
Thank
day job.
goodness.
I mean, as I said at the beginning, being in the CPG industry and being in the same at General Mills now, is it 24 years? More than 24?
Yes, I am in my 24th year.
So, and I guess that is amazing. It's in not I don't know about General Mills, I'm not sure, but in marketing, if you
Mhm.
look at the most successful marketers out there, you see much more of, a few years here, a few years there, and it's just the nature of the industry. And so to see that, I was shocked. I kept like scrolling down, like, wait, wait, wait. And I'm like, wow, she went right graduating from college, and this is where she went. And well,
Yeah.
one, I have so many things about that, but one, the CPG industry has notoriously in the past been very male dominated. And I've spoken, leaders in the industry, women like yourself who have seen that in the past or know are very aware of that. That's definitely changed. Something, when we put our summits together with the CPG, I remember one of the first ones I went to, everyone was like, this is amazing. We have so many women of executives in the CPG industry here, and that was a struggle earlier on
Mhm.
before I had come on board. So I think that's wonderful, but we're talking 24 years ago. Did you experiencing any of that? And just talk about maybe what those challenges were.
Sure. So 24 years ago, I started with General Mills Canada. So I'm a Canadian, I'm based just outside of Toronto. And yeah, so I started with General Mills Canada. I was a kid. I had just finished university. Um, and I have a different background than most other business people. I didn't come with a degree in business either. I have a psychology degree from McMaster University, and I knew though that I always knew that I was going to be in business in some way or another.
Mhm.
I just had to figure out how to get myself there. And when I started at General Mills, I was very shy, but I had a real passion for the area that they were hiring for, which happened to be promotion marketing at the time. It was kind of a cool time to join General Mills because they were looking to bring promotional marketing in-house. So they were forming almost like an in-house agency. So I had like all the passion for what that role was to entail, but I had absolutely no idea what CPG was all about. I had no idea. I wasn't recruited from business school, so I wasn't prepped for all of this. So I walked in and I wouldn't say that one of my first impressions was, wow, this is a male dominated industry. I didn't think that at all at the office, the General Mills Canada office. If I think back, was leadership probably more male dominated? Maybe. I do recall when I started, there was a female VP of marketing and a female VP of HR.
Wow.
But the other members of our team were male, but we also had a female president when I started. So leadership was already female heavy, or right-sized, I should say. That would be a better way of putting it, is like, I got to start my first job with a female president at the helm. Like, that's pretty cool. So I maybe didn't experience the same thing starting out.
The opportunities that you have for you ahead.
Yeah.
Whereas I've spoken with others who felt like they didn't even think to be in a position that they're in today because everyone in that position was male. So,
Right.
I mean, that's very, especially as you said, you didn't necessarily have that maybe not to say it in this way, but the ignorance,
The naivete. Yeah.
right? That's a much better, nicer way to say it.
Yeah.
Uh, but that kind, it didn't make you go in with any preconception of, okay, I'm going to be struggling, or I can't do this, or whatever it may be. So, I mean,
No.
did you think, like, so starting out in your career, when you're getting out of school, you knew you wanted to go into promotions, but did you envision what your career has been? I mean, walk us through the career, and like, did you envision even being within the same company? Like, that's something that, maybe our fathers and, had, gotten to one company and stayed there for forever. But you don't even, I mean, obviously I said with marketing you don't, but for many careers you don't see that. How did you envision your career going, and talk about where you got to today?
Sure. So the background, I think it's important to tell you the background. So I come from, my dad is an entrepreneur. He started his own business after grade 10, I want to say. So he didn't finish school. He just started his own business. That's all I knew growing up, is my dad had his own business. And my mom, she did lots of different things. She was one of the first people in our family to go to college. So she went to teachers college, and then she did teaching. She was in real estate. Like, she did a whole bunch of different things. So that was what I was exposed to. I was always, encouraged that I could pretty much do anything. So I came into my first role with the mindset that this is just the beginning. I have so many places to go here. And I did hope when I started that I would be able to stay with the company for a really long time. So what I saw, the big opportunity with General Mills was an opportunity to try lots of different things. And I didn't need to leave the company to do that. So I figured, like, I knew right from the start that I'd be able to gain skills in lots of different areas, even if I stayed. And then there was something about, I guess, that experience of my dad doing the same thing his whole career, was like, I wouldn't mind doing that either. So I kind of came into it not having a path in mind, just knowing that I wanted to continue to build new skills and grow. And the benefit was General Mills was a really great place to start because they had so much opportunity.
Right.
As I progressed through things, so I started off, I came in very junior at the beginning of something brand new. So as I think about that trailblazing theme we talked about at the beginning, it started like in my first role, where we were trying to figure out exactly what it is that our function was to deliver to the organization. And I got to do that for, I want to say I did that for like 2 years. And then magically, we bought a new company. We bought Pillsbury. And at that time, they said, all right, well, your function, we need somebody to kind of run the Pillsbury side of promotion marketing. And I was set up really well to do that. So I was quickly promoted to manager, and I got to play around in that space for a while. So that was kind of cool, trailblazing too. Those were new businesses, new brands. And there was a lot of volatility in anytime you merge or acquire. Of course, the operations are very complex, but it was so cool to be a part of that. So I was satisfied, right? I was staying in the same company, but I was very satisfied with the work that I was given. As time progressed, I continued my career. I took on more brands, et cetera. And then like a major life event, I had my son. So after, and in Canada, we have a really long mat leave. We have 12, at that time it was 12 months. Now it's 12 to 18. It's a good place to come if you want to have a baby. So I had my son and came back, and I had been craving a little bit of something different. And I've always made sure that I had a relationship with my managers that understood, like I was very honest all the time. And so I was craving something different, and they happened to be interested in something new. And at that time, it was when shopper marketing or customer marketing was becoming a thing. So I came back kind of
just to update me a little bit, being
yeah.
the journalist in it and not the marketer. So does
Mhm.
that mean now connecting more with the customers, or like, well, how is that different from than what you were doing beforehand?
Yeah. Okay. So promotion marketing is basically you're marketing to the consumer of the product.
Mhm.
For shopper marketing, you're marketing to the purchaser of the product at point of purchase. So it's much more about in-store, how we're connecting with the person who's making that decision to choose a General Mills cereal versus a competitor cereal.
Got it.
So it's just a different kind of marketing, because it's they've already gotten to the shelf. So now you're trying to convince them to make that choice. So that was shopper marketing, and that was becoming a really big thing. So they gave me the task of like figuring out, well, what does it look like for General Mills shopper marketing in Canada? And I came back and proposed actually something a little bit different, which was customer marketing. And customer marketing was just another step further beyond the shopper. And it was all about partnering with the retailer to build marketing programs together. Mm-hmm. So some of our big retailers in Canada, I built partnerships with, and we put programs out into the market together jointly to inspire their consumers to choose my products. So it was just a fun twist on it, but that kept me busy for a while figuring that out. And so that's just another example of the being put into,
like, even though you've been with the same company and a legacy brand, you almost had this starter mentality, even startup, not starter, startup.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's everything, even though, yes, the brand is the same and has been around, it sounds like you're taking on this new initiative with each of the directions you went to, each of the positions you took. So it kind of gives you that, what we talked about in the beginning, sort of that trying something new, stepping out of the comfort zone, doing something different. So,
yeah.
So I think what was one of the important things that you said is you always let your bosses know. You let them know, you were very honest with, you were open to new things and you wanted new things. And so do you feel like that helped you maintain, the longevity you have at General Mill and to the success you've had, because you, one, were open to people letting them know, but also that you're open to trying new things and showing other, muscles that that seeing if these muscles can work?
I think that has a huge impact on how your career progresses, especially with it when you're with it. I think it makes an even bigger difference when you're with one company for as long as I've been. But I think I give that advice to everybody that works with me, for me, around me, above me, it doesn't matter. Is like, you got to let people know what you want to accomplish, and not in a way that is demanding. I have never demanded any of these things that have happened or the changes that have happened, but I've been very clear, like, I don't want to get too restless and leave. So it's better if I let you know when I'm feeling the restlessness, when I'm craving new learning, when I'm craving new experiences. It's better for both of us, because I know that I've been able to deliver great work in the past, and I will deliver that again. But now we need to appease me a little bit and help me keep my spirits up. So that's kind of how I think about it and how I guide my team.
Yeah, well, it reinvigorates you. I mean, I think a lot of times, and maybe, if we started off in the beginning with marketing, marketers in general tend to be those who are always looking for something new. What I mean? That's a part of the excitement. They enjoy that. That's part of
Yeah.
why they become marketers. And so you who are a marketer, but just did a different path than moving from place to place, but you still needed to, you probably wouldn't have lasted as long at General Mills if you weren't given the opportunities. So for
Right.
the company, they need to know, they need to constantly be able to give you these challenges, or give their, whoever's working for them, but also the employee needs to let them know as well. So it's that give and take about it. Was there
Mhm.
ever a change or a challenge, or just something where it was maybe, the most challenging, or just really something that seemed an obstacle that you couldn't get past, or you had to work through and then you did? Like, what would be that in your moment? Like, is there a moment in your career? And I know that obviously you got through things, but was there a time when you sort of took pause?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say there's probably been a couple moments. Um, Sometimes, I mean, this I'm sure happens with everyone, is sometimes you're ready for something, but the organization is not ready for you to be ready for that. Like that happened to me, of course. I had thoughts about what I wanted to do next. And but the opportunity didn't necessarily exist in those moments. So that's like a really important nuance to managing your career through an organization, is that you can't just expect an opportunity to be there in the moment that you want it. Sometimes you have to wait a little bit. You have to be a little bit patient. So I'm certain over my career that there's been a number of times when I've been craving something different, but the opportunity wasn't there yet. And I'm thankful for the fact that I didn't go and make a move just for the sake of making a move in the moment. I stuck around and trusted the process and trusted my abilities to get me to the place that I needed to get to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's probably, it has happened. It definitely has happened.
And I think that this good, like, that's really valuable in a sense that you're saying you knew it would happen, you trusted it, you were patient, but at the same point, there's a time when then you need to create them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're always at a point in your career. When is the time to create that opportunity? And when is
Mhm.
the time to sit back and say, okay, let's give it a little time? Like, how do you determine that? Because you have had these opportunities throughout your career. When did you know, okay, let me wait? And like, what was it that triggered in you to say, this is a time to wait, or this is a time for me to, move forward?
Some sometimes it's been counsel from peers, or my leadership even. I know I had years ago I had an opportunity to move up outside of the company, and I didn't take it, and that was at guidance from a senior member of leadership at General Mills at the time. And I wasn't given anything else. I wasn't given, here, you know what, we'll give you that same job here. I was given something which I think was much more valuable. So after expressing like that I had an opportunity to leave, um, they listened to what I had to say, which was, I'm looking for growth opportunities in these areas. And I wasn't really ready. So like, I'm very aware I was not ready, but
Uh-huh.
it was there for me over here. But General Mills knew I wasn't ready. But what they did was they gave me different opportunities. Like, I was able to be mentored by our president at that time. So we built a mentoring relationship. So I didn't take this other job, but I got a relationship with this senior level executive to help guide me and prepare me so that I could have that job at General Mills when the time was right. And now not everybody would do that. Not everybody would pass up that opportunity outside and for mentoring with a senior leader. But for me, that was the right thing. And it's like, I'm a big believer in my intuition and trusting my gut. So I think most of the times that I've made these decisions, it's been for that. I've never really
Okay.
chased the money, but that's important too, but it's never been my primary motivator.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, I think that that's a key point. Like it's you're trusting your instincts, you know,
Mhm.
and sometimes they fail us, but in general, I think if you really go with what you truly believe is the best way to go, ultimately, I think it's going to work out the best,
Yeah.
at least we hope. But
Yes, exactly.
obviously it did for you. And I mean, we've been talking about this a little bit with, and I'm happy to hear that you didn't experience that at all with with the women in CPG, but those who are starting out, and as I said, there are more opportunities for women today, but someone coming to you, even yourself coming to you today when you were first starting out, or a woman who, young woman just out of school, or maybe someone interested in changing their career. I mean, you serve in the Women's Leadership Network at General
Mhm,
Mills. I know this is
mhm.
important to you. How do you advise them? How are you paying it forward? The mentorship you received, how are you paying that forward to younger women who are approaching you about getting into the industry?
Well, hmm, in my last, oh geez, probably 10 years. No, actually probably 20. We could probably even go back 20. The majority of my team have been women and young women entering their careers. And that is like my most favorite part of the job, honestly, is the fact that I get to work with um, young people starting their careers. I love coaching them through their careers and supporting them through their careers and giving them guidance and things like that, men or women. I was a big part of the Women's Leadership Network in Canada. Um, and we did a lot of like mentoring and seminars and tried to get really inspiring content for our women leaders so that they can see the potential. Because a lot of the times, um, we don't necessarily see the potential in ourselves, and it's really important to build that first internally. So I was very focused on making sure that we had really great content opportunities for our women leaders to do exactly that. Um, but I'll tell you, like now, it's I was thinking about it when you were talking, and although like now I still have a team of women, majority. I do have one man on my team, but we're like a female dominated uh, area of the business. Marketing at General Mills is very female dominated, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you think about the Mad Men days and versus today, it's so very different.
Yeah, no, I agree. And as I said, we've definitely, I mean, our last event for CPG and just in
Mhm,
general in marketing, I mean, because we have different verticals throughout for all of our events, and we're seeing so many more women in, higher positions and, in the C-suite, CMOs, and just it's really great. And it's because I think it's a dynamic. I mean, I think there have been studies to show, well, especially CPG, because most of the people buying are women, most of the
mhm.
grocery shoppers are women. But in general, the women are such a big part of
Yeah.
determining, what people are buying, what people are buying for the household, that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
it really makes sense. It's something that
Yes.
it's nice to see come to fruition. So, well, I want to sort of figure, because you've been talking about yourself and how sometimes people, you were saying how younger people don't necessarily know what their value is. But
Mhm.
look at, and this doesn't have to be about value, it could be about anything, but in general, what is it that people maybe get wrong about you? And that can be not in career, not, in your personal life, whatever, but when people meet you, what's
Oh,
something they might get wrong about you or not know
um,
about you?
I feel like I'm two different people. I feel like I'm career Tiffany, and then I'm like personal life Tiffany.
All right, let's
So
start with personal life, Tiffany.
Okay, personal life, Tiffany, which people get wrong. Probably I'm a lot less confident than I come across. Personal life, Tiffany is much less confident. So, um, so I think that that's probably put me in a business setting and I'm fine.
Mhm.
But put me outside, I tend to be a little bit more reserved. I literally believe I'm sometimes two different people. They used to put me in these, they always gave me these tasks of we'd go to customers, like our big grocery retailers, and we'd have to present to them. And in the moment, like I don't know where it came from, but in the moment, I would be able to turn on some kind of switch and
Uh-huh.
present like nobody's business. And that is, like, I'm totally comfortable there, but I'm not like that outside of the office. It's a very strange thing.
So if I were to come to you from your kid's school, from your son's school, and be like, okay, we want you presenting and doing all this and whatever, that switch might not be as easy to turn on in
Right.
that setting.
Yeah, I tend to be a little bit more reserved. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I would
So,
never, I would have been one of those who would miss, because based on my knowledge of you more professionally, just seeing you on stage and just interacting with you, you're very much that person who just,
mhm.
is ready to just jump in and do what needs to be done and say what needs to be done. So sad.
Yeah, it's worked out well because in my career I'm able to do it no problem. Like the role that I'm in right now, I knew nothing about. It is the funniest thing that I have ended up in this role that I'm in right now and the role that was right before this. I guess I'll answer the question about what would people, what are some of the misconceptions? So one of the misconceptions, probably through my entire career, up until these last two roles, was that I'm definitely a creative. I definitely am an ideas person. I'm not necessarily an analytical or financial person. That has been like my whole career. And I took this, I had a major life-changing event and shifted my career objectives a few years ago. And that's how I've ended up where I am right now. And in doing that, I took a role called data strategy. I was enterprise lead for marketing data strategy. And when I took this role, it was such a joke for everybody that knew me because they're like, how are you going to do that role? That's not at all what you do. And I was like, I'm going to try it. I can do anything. If somebody thinks I can do it, I will give it a try. And in that, I realized, wow, you know what I can actually do? You could probably put me in any role and I will figure out how to do it and
Mhm.
do it as well as I possibly can. And that was a really important moment for me to realize, like, I needed that confidence. I knew I could do things, but I now know that I can really do things, like things that are completely outside of my wheelhouse. And
Now,
that's a pretty big thing.
you said, and if you don't want to go into, you said there was a life changing thing that made
Mm.
you be willing to do this. It- Was that, and you can be as specific as you like, but would you think if there hadn't been that life changing moment that you would have still been open to that, or do you think you might have sort of paused a little bit more?
No, I would have paused for sure. So I can give you a little background. So I was diagnosed with cancer in 2019. And following that, I had to take a year off for all my treatments and things like this. And then following that, I realized, wow, what do I want to do next? Do I want to work even? Like, maybe I don't even want to work anymore. Maybe I want to like refocus my efforts, spend my time at home with my son. Like I was really going through all the things that I think people go through when they go through major traumatic life events. Um, but my coworkers always told me, they're like, we don't think you're done yet. You're not done working. Like, sure, you want to be with your son and stuff, but we don't think you're done. You're too young to be done working. And so I had like a really like important, I did some really thorough analysis of my life. And I said, okay, well, what really matters? What do I want to do? And I had gotten counsel years ago from a female mentor. And she was like, as we were talking about career pathing, and she's like, think about what you want to retire from. Like, that's when you'll be satisfied. Like, where do you want to get to before you retire? And I had I had kind of gotten to that place already prior to my diagnosis. I was like, I was a director. I was like happy. I had this amazing team, great job. Then I got sick. And then I was like, reevaluation. And I realized I probably could do something. Let's try something new. I'm ready for something new. I don't want to go back to doing the same. And I want to be able to do it from my home instead of going into the office every day. So I was like, these were some of the things that I was balancing. And so when I kind of shared all that, and I was presented with an opportunity that was completely outside of my comfort zone, but met a few of my objectives. So like working from home, check, and the ability to learn something new, check, and still in a very unknown environment. So my comfort zone, ambiguity, I was good there. And I was like, okay, why don't we try this? But it wasn't, there were some sacrifices I had to make in order to do this. And that was, I took it's a level down from where I was in my previous role. But as I added up all the things in Tiffany's life, that was like the least of my concern. Yeah. And I was like, this is awesome. So I got an opportunity to continue in my career that's going to still achieve all of my post-cancer objectives. Mm-hmm. And I'm having a great old time now. So I've since moved roles. Like I started that data strategy thing, and now I'm in for brand experience platforms, which is just so fun. But very difficult because we are also standing up something new and a new way of working. So I'm still getting everything I need. I feel like I'm in a really great spot, which is a weird thing to say after like I was a director and now my title is now a senior manager, but I don't care.
Well, and I mean, are you good? I mean, I'm so happy that you got through it all. Are you good now? Are you feeling healthy?
I'm good now. I'm good now. Yeah.
I'm really, I didn't have any idea. So I really appreciate you sharing that. But I think like what you said, like maybe if you hadn't gone through that, like people take stock and what's important. It's always about climbing the ladder in general and then I think you get to a point where maybe that's not the most important. And the fact that you had that opportunity to realize that, and now are doing something that you are enjoying even that much more. And, your son must be so proud of you to be able to like doing what you need to do to be happy and still be career mom and all of that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, it's a tough decision to make, like to really put yourself first. And you're right. If this wouldn't have happened, if cancer wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have done this. I would have been probably a little bit more stuck, but it's funny how things work, right? Yep. You end up where you're supposed to, I think. And I've just been lucky to have all my experiences be with one company. But other people, sometimes, they have a major life experience and that makes them change careers entirely. I almost would say that I've changed careers entirely. The work that I'm doing now is so very different than the work that I've ever done. So it almost feels like a full career change, but it's in the comfort of my company, my brands, etc.
And as I said earlier, like you've kind of done that. You've been sort of a startup company throughout
my whole career. Yeah.
Levels of your career just happens to be in one place.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you. That was Tiffany, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking and sharing, and it was awesome. So thank you very much.
Well, it's been so fun, and I was so pleased when you reached out. I hope to spend more time with you at more brand insider summits in the future.
Well, now that's on tape. We have that. We have that, so you can't not.
They're excellent. They're excellent conferences. I encourage you all to attend.
No, well, I'll be reaching out to you. And thank you for watching and being a part of this. And as I always ask, if there's someone you want to recommend, marketer that you would like me to find out more about, hear their story, let me know and I will do my best. So thanks again for watching. And Tiffany, thank you.